What's up, my know-it-alls? That's right, it is definitely that time again. It is Wednesday morning, and that means Andor, Season 1. Specifically, we're going to talk about Episode 12, but wait, we're not alone. Hey!
Hi!
Mrs.
I'm
Know-it-all's back, and I'm so excited to have you back on the show, hon. It's going to be great. So much to talk about. So I actually watched it myself because out of habit, I just didn't wake her up. And I watched the whole episode through, and then as I was coming back to the room to get dressed to come back up and record, she goes, "What, did you watch it without me?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't even think about it." So then we watched it a second time, so it's amazing. I loved every second of it, so I can't wait to get into it. Sorry, this intro is going long. Let's get into it.
Woo!
Come on, man.
Woo!
Dude. So anybody, and believe me, we got the receipts. Go back and watch. A lot of things we predicted have come true and come to pass. Specifically, a lot of things this wonderful lady has predicted.
And of course, I wasn't here to tell you my predictions, so...
No, that's not true. We talked about it last. We talked about it the last time we were on. No, wait, did we?
I don't think so. I've been gone for a few weeks.
That's right. Okay. So anyways, lots of good stuff. Well, let's get into it. So, the episode starts with Dedra Meero. She arrives on Ferrix. I love her. I love me some Dedra Meero. As you guys know,
she's good.
She is simply the best. And
she puts the hammer down.
She totally does. No, she's amazing. And so then you're seeing all kinds of stuff happening. And like last week, everything is rushing toward a head. It's all, and even at one point you said, "Oh my God, the anxiety's just building."
It was, as it was all like, everyone was descending on Ferrix. I'm like, I can't do this. And I'm like sitting up in bed and I'm like, I can't. Clutching my pearls.
No, totally. So, and again, everyone, so Brasso runs into Zan. Zan tells him about the conversation he had with Cassian. So now it's out amongst Cassian's people and people there that Cassian knows and is definitely coming. They know this for a fact.
Phyrexians?
Yeah, right? Phyrexians? Phyrexicans?
I like it.
Right? Phyrexicans. Let's go. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so...
Aren't you glad I'm back? Sorry.
No, for real.
Keep going.
No, so then one of the people that they were talking to, that he was he's watching him as he's talking, this guy keeps giving him a side eye, and I'm like, oh, you're dirty. That's Nurchi. His black dude, little cornrows looking things or twists or whatever. Anyway, he's so...
He comes off slimy right off the bat.
He does. And then later on, just shortly thereafter, Zan and Nurchi are having a drink, and Nurchi's like, "Man, it's a real good thing Cassian doesn't know what's going on. Man, I tell you what, because there's no way he could know, right?" And I'm just like, bro, can you fish any harder? But he's plying Zan with booze. So he's like, "Well, it's a good thing he doesn't know." And Zan's like, "Be so sure."
Telling him without telling him.
Totally. And you're like, dude. And then he even tries to play it off. He's like, "Hey, if you know something, keep it to yourself." And he turns around, he's like, because he's so dirty.
Slimy.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. And then we cut briefly back to, before. So the episode actually started before Meero arrived with this kid. We don't know anything who he is. He's working on something. He's soldering some things. He's putting something together and whatnot. About midway through, Mrs. Know-it-all goes,
that's what's his name, his kid.
"But that's a bomb."
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
It is his kid.
Sorry, yeah.
No. The guy
he was total. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, it's a bomb.
You called it. And
yeah,
I was
it's
like,
a bomb.
I was like, right on, man. And so, but then we cut to Mon Mothma, and she's waiting outside of some. It's funny. The Mon Mothma storyline takes a back seat in this episode.
To the point where I forgot that we were even following it.
Right.
At one point, yeah.
So she waits for her husband. Her husband comes in. They're like, "We need some privacy." The driver's obviously listening in because he's totally a spy. And she's like, "You're gambling again." And there's this whole gambling storyline, which I can't tell if this is just her excuse that she's using to justify her ultimate decision, which we'll get to, or if it's actually something she's upset about. It feels like... So, and what I mean by that is, and you're all familiar with this, you got to break up with somebody, or you got to do something that really it's going to cause you some issue, and what do? You wait till you're angry, or you wait till they upset you. You wait until you are emotionally prepared to go,
I'm dead.
Well, you know what? That's right. And, it's
no.
over something stupid. Mm-hmm. And so that's I feel like that's what I kind of feel like's happening with her.
I'm wondering, because he was listening in, she's trying to move money too. So if the Empire hears that he has a gambling problem, they even alluded to, well, he's going to be the downfall of her, supposedly.
Yeah.
So the moving of the money is legit.
Got it. Or at least it's
Looks legit.
It's dirty, but not for nefarious reasons.
Right. Not because, for rebellion reasons.
Right. Not for rebellion reasons. Like, oh, she's moving money because her husband's gambling. I mean, we might bring him up on charges and stuff, but that's rich people crap. Seriously, I feel like literally this is the equivalent of today where somebody would be like, man, that's just some rich people nonsense. What are you talking about? Seriously. And so but they would be like, they'd be like,
they'd fine him, I guess, or whatever.
Right. Or bring him in and be like, you're doing illegal things and blah, blah, blah. But they're not going to get him for being the rebellion and her. So I feel like this is a really good smokescreen they're building up. Okay. So, for those of you paying attention to that particular scene, they name drop Canto Bight, which is from the new sequel series, which is that casino planet that we all loved to hate in Rian Johnson's Star Wars movie. And remember that one?
Yes. That's what she's like. It took me a second. Okay.
She's like, she's like, you go to Canto Bight. You do what you got to do there. You don't bring that nonsense here. And I was like, that's funny. That's so funny. But So then Cinta reports to Vel. Oh, Vel, by the way, Vel is on Ferrix. Luthen shows up on Ferrix.
Cinta's already there.
Cinta's already there because she's been watching the people who are watching Cassian for Cassian. Like, everybody's there. Luthen and Vel are obviously there because they want to kill Cassian in case so he doesn't get captured. Because they're worried if he gets captured, the Empire's going to make him talk. My whole thing is, before this whole thing goes down, is y'all clearly don't know my boy Cass.
Right?
Legit. Like he's amazing. This whole thing is just unreal. So then, go ahead.
Because we said everybody is descending. What's her name?
Mira?
Yeah, no, not Mira. Yeah, Dedra, I'm sorry.
No, okay.
Sorry, it took me a second.
No, you're good.
My brain doesn't want to work. Her and Guy go out dressed as civilians.
Yeah.
And start scoping the place. I'm impressed with the way she's trying to run this operation. She went out there on the streets and Cinta followed her.
Yeah. And the one thing
Cinta realized who she was.
Absolutely. And which later on there's a little bit of tension between Vel and Cinta because I guess you're supposed to pick up your girlfriend from the airport and then you have to you miss out on that because you're following a spy, whatever. That old chestnut. Anyway, but it's so weird, the relationship, because I feel like Vel's trying really hard, but at very inappropriate times, to be like, it's okay. She's like, I'm working.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that's how she is. She's totally like, do you mind? I'm doing this thing.
I'm trying to do something.
Yeah, anyway, but it's interesting. So then Cass shows up, and he goes to see the junker guy. He breaks into Bix's place, and like he always did, climbing over the wall. And there's her boss, the junker guy, who he was getting Imperial parts from in the beginning, and back in the beginning of the season. And dude's like, yeah, no, she's been captured, bro. And he's like, what? And so he finds out where she's being held and the whole thing, and
they call it the hotel.
Yeah, I love it because they took over the whole place.
I guess they took over the hotel, yeah.
So, what's his face? He sets up you get this really heartwarming, touching moment when we first see that Cassian has arrived, where he goes by this wall and he touches a stone. I mistakenly thought at first, I was like, is this Marva's stone already? It's not. It's Clem's stone. Clem is Marva's partner / his adopted father, who kind of taught him a lot of stuff. And in actuality, that's the moment that they're teaching. And they're showing us, and it feels, to the untrained eye, it feels like this is kind of just a random memory to show us that Clem was someone important. Listen to what he is saying. He's giving Cassian advice, specifically about, this whole, this part, you restore it 2 minutes, no more, no less, in this thing, and now you have this beautiful new thing you could sell for 500 credits. Everybody else is looking, will ignore it. You have to have your eyes always open, looking for the possibilities. And I'm like, bro, you see the building blocks of Cassian?
Yeah.
Sidebar. We haven't heard anything boo about his sister again, or his search for his sister.
Yeah.
I believe she's definitely going to be, because it is so conspicuously not being brought up, I believe they have established it as a thing. And I do believe come season 2, we are going or in the future of the series, whatever that is, we're going to see his sister or have that storyline is going to come back around. It does not in this episode, but it will come back around. It was something I thought about.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So then you find out, we cut back to ISB headquarters, and you find out that the Anto Krieger mission has been completed off camera. Which is this whole thing we've been following, where Luthen's willing to give up Krieger and his 30 men in order to protect the rebellion and protect Saw Gerrera, and all that, right? And so he.
Again, one of my favorite parts.
They know. They're like, well, you know who's on. Like she caught apparently from her other mission she's on.
Wind.
Dedra Mira calls in back to base and is like, I don't even know what's going on, what's happening. She finds out everybody's dead, and she's literally dressing down her boss, her superior, and she's like, look, I need to be part of the conversation. Someone needs to be in that room to say a dead person doesn't help us.
I was going to say a dead body can't talk or something.
Yeah.
And
you're just like, and her boss is literally like, it's okay, just find this other thing, figure this out, you want to have a conversation? He basically says that the Krieger mission was in order to kind of clean up, I think the phrase he uses was clean the taste of Aldhani out of the Emperor's mouth.
Right.
So you're feeling the presence of like the bigger, darker Empire-y things that are going on. So then we come back to, this is what I said, Luthen arrives on Ferrix, and again, I put the note in my notes, Ferrix is ready to pop.
It is. It is. As the episode is going, it's just, even like, as far as writing, they did a really good job of building that tension with like, everyone's descending,
no move felt wasted.
No.
You see Cyril has arrived back on Ferrix, everybody's there. And so then Luthen he walks right up to Vel, he's got his hood on, and they're talking about, she's like, when's it going to be a couple hours away? And then all of a sudden, you hear the anvil clang. And everyone's like, what's going on?
Yeah, because she just told Luthen, she's like, a couple hours from now, listen for the anvil. Like, no sooner after she says that, the anvil starts.
And he's like, what's going on? She's like, I have no idea. And that's everybody. The Imperial troops, what's happening? What's going on? No clue. And so everybody's scrambling to figure out what's going on. And what's going on is the Daughters of Ferrix have moved ahead without the Empire's permission. They're doing their thing. And you're supposed to have 30 people?
Yeah, no. Oh, and they're all coming down the streets. The music that they chose reminded me of a New Orleans funeral.
It felt
very.
It had lots of very vibes of that. Like you could see everybody wanting to
sentimental. Yeah, the sentiment's definitely there. Just very emotional almost.
So they did what really good needle drops embedded do, which is the band is supposed to be the source of the music. And as the band is going, as things begin to escalate, the band's music becomes the soundtrack for the scene. So it's big, that's a good call. I really can't wait. I want the soundtrack to the show. The soundtrack to the show would be well worth having because it is amazing.
They're parading through the streets with her brick.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I mean,
a little ladybug got you.
You said that was going to happen.
We have a ladybug in the studio. Sorry. I'm all getting emotional beforehand, looking ahead at my notes. I know it's coming. So the Empire begins to rush to form up. Everyone's getting ready because they're like, what's going on? We don't know. They see these crowd of people. They're like, we got to break up these people. They're starting to try to send people home or send people back or whatever. And then Cassian from above, he sees everything. He sees Mira, and then he sees Luthen. He's not dumb. There's a look that plays on his face, and I knew right then, he knows what time it is. And he does, because Cassian's a pro. He gets it. He gets it. Whatever it is that you have to be a part of the rebellion, he gets it. So then Nurchi, the slimy punk, gets himself purposely arrested with the guy who's helping the ISB on the inside. And he's like, yeah, I found him. I want double my money, blah, 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 this and that. He's just being real slimy. And they get taken in. And so Miro goes and they try to catch him. And while they do that, because he's not stupid, slips out the same way he met the same way he met dude before, his brother cousin person, Brasso, when he met him underneath down below the building. So he gets out that way. At this point,
I feel like with Cassian looking out the window, he at this point has got to realize everyone is looking for him, not just Luthen, but even family or friends are looking for him for the to warn him. He knows that the Empire is there for him.
Yeah,
he's got to know that at this point.
Well, and what does he do intelligently? He begins to play everybody against each other. So he knows he's got to get Bix. He knows he's there in general to be present for his mother's funeral, and that leaves us to B2 rolls out in front of everybody in the middle of this thing. And he plays Marva's last testament. He plays a hollow of her last, and she's projected like 50 feet in the air. And
you can tell she knew that was going to happen because she's looking down at everybody. And so
at one point she's like, I almost feel like I can see everything, like I can see it all, what's happening right now. And then she proceeds to explain to everybody. She's like, I've been here before. I've been at funerals wanting to be lifted up, wanting to be inspired by somebody, wanting something like that. And ultimately, the conclusion she comes to is that, we here, I'm going to do my best to do that for all of you. And she says, we've been asleep. We've been asleep. They came. They gave us their money. We kept the trade routes, and we stayed. And when they left, we forgot them, the whole bit. But at the end of the day, we are asleep. And the Empire is a disease that thrives in the darkness, and it thrives on us being asleep. When we are asleep, we cannot sleep anymore. And she's like, fighting may seem scary, but if I had it all to do again, I would wake up every single morning and I would fight those. And she says, I would fight those bastards. And the minute she says I would fight those bastards, the head of the garrison is like trying to rush in and be like, oh, hey, what's going on? Stop her, shut up, the whole thing. And she's like, you have to fight.
And the words "fight the Empire" came out of her mouth.
Man.
He lost it.
Totally. He kicks B2 over, which I'm like, dude. That'd be like kicking BB-8 or something, or R2. Okay, and so his little stutter is the most adorable thing ever. Anyways, and so yeah, man, and it blows up.
It blows up.
It's so on. The Empire, the guys are fighting, and the thing is, remember, they're under strict instructions not to kill,
not to do anything,
right? And so they're fighting and keeping them. They're trying to do their best, and at one point, the head of the garrison's getting trampled. So he finally. Let me see.
Well, yeah, they literally start like fighting like it's a riot. Like the Empire's holding the line. Everybody, and some are getting through, some are not getting through, some are being tased, if that's what you want to call it.
Right.
And what's his name takes Mira's brick.
Oh, dude, I loved it so much. Brasso,
thank you. I can't remember his name.
No, there's this one guy, who comes over to him, and what does he do?
The brick was still solid. I mean, that's totally something Marva would have been proud.
Still fighting. Okay,
Marva's
still fighting. It's awesome. And right around that time, the young man we saw in the beginning, he takes out the bomb, and he I told her, it's really funny. Apparently, the bomb it's literally a light switch toggle.
Right? I'd be terrified to carry that in my purse.
He turns it on and chucks it. It does the initial job of blowing in the bottom windows of the hotel and kind of scatter some stuff. But what it also does is it knocks over a munitions van or munitions truck. So all
the little bombies will go off.
It's
complete chaos.
Pandemonium and chaos. It's amazing. That's when the head of the garrison's like, I am not playing this anymore. Open fire. And now you see everyone kind of doing exactly that. Stormtroopers are firing. At one point, one of the dudes sends one of the troopers up there to stop the anvil guy, and the
anvil's warning everybody else in the town.
Right, it's kind of getting everybody riled up. And what does he do? Dude rushes up there, anvil guy kicks him off the thing.
Yeah, it's like almost comedic.
Yeah,
because you always want to hear. Oh!
I half expected to hear the Wilhelm scream, for sure. And so then, again, the whole thing is really blowing up. Mira, at one point, she's got her blaster out, and then she gets jumped by a mob of people, and she's literally scrabbling. And I mean, you got to think about this. Not only is she Empire, it's a woman in the middle of all these angry men. So already, you can see the terror in her face as she's clawing the ground. And right before the explosion happened, or as the explosion went down, the original one, Cyril booked, and you were like, where's he going? He shows up and he rescues her. He drags her out, shoves her into a closet, and she immediately is like,
you.
Yeah, totally. Like, what did you?
You could. This was the only time during this entire season we saw her visibly shaken.
Yeah.
I mean, she did a really good job with being so terrified that she was going to be trampled.
But then, and what's funny, and then allowing rather than being like, oh, it's great, everything's in that, the shock happened, and like at one point she's like, I should thank you. And it's like she's like trying to talk herself through calming down, and I'm just like, and we had predicted and talked about that. Oh yeah, I think either Cyril and her are going to get together, and I think one of us said, it might have even been you. I think you might have been the one that suggested that he's going to save her life somehow. But yeah. It was man, it was so good because they've done an amazing job in this show of making us feel everyone's motivations that are going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's huge, and I've enjoyed it. So then you get Cassian shows up at Bix's, and she's at Bix rather. He kills one guard that's watching her because everybody else is outside by now, and so the one she's like, I dreamt that she came to blah blah blah, and she goes, Marva was here, and Cassian's like, and you can tell it's very genuine. He's like, wasn't she great?
Because the look on Bix's face, because she could hear Marva's speech.
Yeah.
And I almost think she could probably see her too, like the hologram. Yeah.
Well, it was huge
because she was leaning like on top, and that was a very emotional moment when they showed Bix listening to Marva's voice.
Yeah, no, it was amazing.
Wasn't she great?
Too much. So then as everything's starting to break up, the Brasso and a couple of the daughters and the Junker guy are all, and B2 are all on getting ready to escape on a ship that's at the junkyard. And that's when Cassian shows up with Bix, B2 sees him, and he's like, hey, you guys go here, go. He gives very explicit instructions to the daughter who's going to pilot. And then he looks down. B2's like, I never got to see you. And he's like, don't worry, I need you to take care of Bix and them. You watch out for them. I'll be, I'll come
back.
I'll come back. And he's like, I just need you to watch out for them. He's like, or I trust you to watch for them or something. It's a really great line. And the droid's like, you always say that. And he goes, I
always come back.
That's right, and I always count on you.
Yep.
Oh my God, it's so good. The whole thing is amazing. And then you go to, there's a brief moment where you cut to Mon Mothma again.
Because we forgot completely about this entire story.
And you see her husband, and her daughter in the middle. And the daughters are all dressed up in the Chandrillan dress outfit. And they walk, and the doors open, and there's a young man. And there's Dude, the mob guy. And I'm like, I guess she's done thinking about it. And again, I think she got upset with her husband on purpose just to help motivate this decision. But she's gonna take the guy's help, and so yeah. And then the final moment, not the final because there is a post-credit scene, but the final moment of the actual show proper, you see Luthen riding real fast at a speeder back toward his ship. Gets to his ship and he's like, "Get ready for departure." Blah blah blah.
And he notices something's not right. Yeah. There's nothing obvious. Just something's not right.
That's right. And then he turns around, and there's Cassian. And Cassian says, very frankly, you came to kill me, didn't you? And Luthen's like, you don't make it easy. And so Cassian kind of gestures, and he's like, I will today. I'll make it easy for you. And Dude sees the gun, and he picks up a blast. He's like, what game are we playing? And Cassian's like, no game. Kill me or take me in. And I'm like, there it is.
And the biggest smile on Luthen's face was great. Because, this
he knows.
He knows, and he is such an asset to Luthen.
He's just watched one man, with his help on the bigger scheme, do what he wants to have done. And every time we saw Luthen, he was looking, like even when Marva was talking, he's like, he's kind of somewhat smiling, like, what's going on here? Like, is this happening? And as things blew up and everything, he's watching. So he's just seen Cassian be the flame that ignited this whole thing.
I was just going to say, one town went completely chaotic for one man.
Yeah.
So if Luthen doesn't realize the importance of, which is
and
what he
he's
does now
good.
at this point, yeah.
Oh yeah, I believe next, and if they're not dumb, I don't believe you'll get 5 seasons. So I don't believe you're going to get like 1 season for every year because it's 5 years out from Rogue One.
Well, we already thought that there were going to have more episodes for this season. Because
Yeah,
originally we thought we were going to have like 24, 26.
So first thing, once I found out this was the finale, I went online real fast and I was like, what did I get my numbers wrong? Apparently season 2 is going to have a season 2 part 1 and a season 2 part 2. Both are going to be 12 episodes. That's where we got the 24 episodes from.
Okay.
So season 2 is going to have 24 episodes, and that's another reason why it's going to take 2 years to get it. We don't get season 2 until 2024. So yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Because I've already pictured the wrath that Deidre's going to.
It's on.
The minute she walks onto some huge spaceship.
Well, and not to mention, she also going to have to answer for some things.
Oh, yeah.
The Empire does not take failure well.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, so then we get to the post-credit scene.
May I?
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all, I was not feeling well, so I didn't get to do any of these reviews with him. But we kept talking about what are they building? What is this? Why do they need 5,000 men for the star-shaped object that they keep at the prison? Mm-hmm. Why do this? And so we're watching it, and I'm still watching it.
And it was worth lying to them. Because here's the thing. The prisoners weren't just being lied to because the Empire is evil. The prisoners were being lied to because they needed the work done. So then she immediately makes the assumption.
They're building the Death Star.
Or at very least super important parts for the Death Star.
Because if you think about the way... It was. I logically thought about this, too. So if you think of those designs of those 5-point things... that you need that to make a sphere.
Sure.
So
yeah, and then what's the post-credit scene?
It's the last part. It's the actual beam itself that these little robots are building.
Yeah, these joint things are connecting to what is eventually going to be one of the layers of the actual.
I think it was the outside of the actual divot inside the Death Star is what they're building.
And then they back us up, and you get to see. Yeah, it's like. It's almost like when if it was tiny, it would be a thing that has to oscillate in, but it's massive. So it's this moon that's got this disc and another disc and all these pieces and this. I know, and it's this, and you're just like, and the minute I saw it, I was like, she was right. Oh yeah, dude, it was great because I didn't know either, and when you said it, I was like. That makes a lot of sense.
Because why else do you need 5,000 prisoners in 3 different spots?
Just working their butts, just killing themselves literally, because you need a slave workforce, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's rough. My question is, I don't know why they didn't have y'all couldn't have, that wasn't a factory job somewhere where you could literally have machines building that? Stop it. But anyway.
But if you're the Empire, you want to put your boot on the neck of people that you're trying to take over.
So there you go. Now you know. And if knowing is half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. So what is the know-it-all index for this episode? We're not finished yet, by the way. We're going to talk a little more, but I want to get this out of the way before we won't forget. What's your know-it-all index for this episode is?
This is my 10.
Let's go.
This was my 10.
Let's go. Mm-hmm. I got to give it a 10 also. By the way, for me, this will be the third 10 I give in this series. This series has been firing on all cylinders this entire time.
The writing is amazing.
Yeah. So I feel like, and there's some talk online about people not being interested in, well, I don't know what's going on. Critics love it, but there's not viewership. Anybody who knows anything about anything always knows the first season of most TV shows is never great. Anybody who's like, but what about this and that? Seinfeld, they thought it was going to be canceled until season 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so same. A lot of these Game of Thrones was not the sweetheart darling season 1 everybody thought it was. By the end of season 1, the people had begun to come around to it, but it was not.
It didn't catch hold until season 3. End of season 2.
I think season 2 it started building.
Yeah.
And then finally by the end of season 2 there was this crazed fandom that had developed. So same thing. Mm-hmm. I fully believe we're definitely getting season 2. And I think people are going to really start seeing a big difference, especially when you get 24 episodes the following season, or in that season. So, yeah.
I like I said, I in my brain I have what's her name, just going off. She herself is going to pull a gun on several people and kill them. I think,
for real,
especially the guy that said open fire. I mean, he was the cause. He jumped so quickly, so soon for. What we always like to say, no apparent reason.
like, this is one of those times where you sit here and go, God, they really are space Nazis. Because you sit here and go, who doesn't realize this is a town or a city in pain who is mourning? This is not the moment to suddenly get them angry.
Right.
Because literally, that's
all emotion.
That's the least productive thing to have happen. Now, and we wait till the next day. I don't know, whatever. But like I think they weren't really going to be given the chance, because I believe her hollow was always going to happen. It was intense, man. It was intense. It was a good episode. I loved this. I loved it. It was a good episode. It was a good season
I would
finale.
rewatch this. I would rewatch it.
I watched it twice this morning, and I would watch it a third time.
I mean, I would definitely rewatch this entire series.
I kind of want to rewatch
Again.
it like straight through and just like the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now, what do you give the whole season? Like and I'm not averaging our actual scores.
Like
I'm just
usually.
asking. Yeah, I'm just asking what.
For me to have to rewatch it again, I gotta say a 9 then.
Okay.
A 9. I would do a 9 because probably some of the fact that I love Star Wars so much, but I didn't miss a week watching it. Like I didn't have to double up weeks because I wanted to make sure I stayed on course, whether I was doing this with you or not. I wanted to keep up so we could talk.
Right.
So. The 9. I would totally do a 9 in a heartbeat. A 9.
I'm gonna give the series. I'll go. I feel like I feel like I can't do 10 without actually averaging my scores. So I'm gonna do a 9.5. I'm gonna do 9.5 and say that to me this season has just been amazing. It really has been. It's so part of what's going on is the storytelling. By that I mean,
yes,
we're learning things about the rebellion we never knew. This other commentator I watch, he's Mark Bernardin. One of the things he said was, they've never shown us the actual cost. What does it take to start a rebellion? It takes dedication, heart, which we've all seen, and it takes money. We're seeing two sides. We're seeing Luthen, who's building up the actual people, who's building up, Luthen's the one who's going by saying, hey, order of the whoever, and an organization of the this or that, or these people come to get, like, he's pulling the people together. Mon Mothma is the one paying for everything. Here's the ships, here's the weapons, here's the things you need, here's the money you need to move forward. What does that look like? And we're going deep into that, and that's why I feel like this is Star Wars' version of Game of Thrones, which is you're seeing this machinations and the inside work. It's amazing. And we
only knew of the rebellion in all of them. We know of the rebellion. We know that they existed. We know that Rogue One, because of them, we know all of this. But to see it actually play out, we already know what's going to happen. Like when we first saw Rogue One, we're like, this is not going to have a happy ending. But we also now we know how they got there, which
So,
I might have to watch Rogue One over the holidays.
What are some no, for real. What are some things you want? What are some predictions you want to make about what you think is coming, and what would you like to see happen? I'll give you my example first. So, I believe we are going to see much more of we're going to see some more missions and stuff, but I think we're going to see much more of the concerted effort and build toward the actual formalized rebellion. I believe we will see the alliance come together, the Rebel Alliance. I believe we're going to see, which is where it formalizes. I believe we're going to see the Rebel Alliance headquarters posted on Yavin 4. I believe, not next season, but in the series. I believe we might even see, it's funny, this is a stupid little one. I believe we're going to see Saw Gerrera either find Port Gullet, that mind-reading alien thing that he used on the pilot in Rogue One. I believe we're going to see Saw Gerrera get even more hurt and damaged. I also believe we're going to get a time jump. I don't think we're going to jump right into Season 2, right where we left off. I think you jump into Season 2 a year or a few months down the road, where Cassian is established with them, or possibly even and maybe an early version of a conversation. I could even see Season 2 ending with the first unofficial meeting of the Rebel Alliance.
Okay.
Meeting the various leaders. I
want to.
I believe we're going to see Mon Calamari. we're going to see Mon Calamar come next season because they're conspicuously not involved with this season. And they are such a strong friend in term member of the Rebel Alliance that I'm down to see some squiddies. Let's go, buddy. Seriously. And oh my gosh, and if you can give me a slightly younger Admiral Akbar before he's Admiral, when he's just either senator, leader, president, whatever, and then he's got to be like, it's time to go, we have to fight them and blah 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 and this and that. Oh my God, you give me a younger Akbar who's like really who like becomes general. Okay, those are the kinds of things I want. If you're gonna show me this stage, show me this
all
stage.
The players that go into it.
Let's see it.
I think we will come to season 2 right off the heels at the beginning.
Okay.
I think maybe the first episode might be the heels because there's too much. I don't want to say loose ends, but there's like I think they need to figure out what happened with what's her name? I keep doing it again. Dedra.
Yeah, Dedra Meero.
Dedra Meero, thank you. And I think we'll know more at the end of the first episode, and then I think we might have a time jump, like you said, because I don't think it's gonna back up all that.
I wonder do you think I could even see storytelling wise. Again, remember, this is me thinking as a writer. I can think storytelling wise. We start with Meero being disgraced, because remember, the Empire does not take failure well. But she's not like been fired or whatever else. But I think she's definitely trying to re-earn her place and re-find what's going on. And I think she will have either hired or brought Cyril on as an assistant, or you're going to see Cyril in the ISB White. I believe he's going to end up being somebody who is a subordinate of hers that she's brought in as a whatever.
Yeah.
And they will have their own, because now they're simpatico. Cassian is responsible for his worst failure, and Cassian is now going to be responsible for Meero's worst failure.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. I do want to see the actual Rebel Alliance by the end of the season. I want to see that formed.
Yeah, man.
I want to see Mon Mothma installed. I want to see all that formation because
it's going to be so deep.
Because I think then, even if that's at the end of part 1,
right.
Then if they do that at the end of part 1, then part 2 we'll be able to see how the information from the Alliance and to the Alliance start happening.
Right.
If they because then I think there's more stories there too.
Agreed. Absolutely.
If we can get to the installment of the Rebel Alliance actually the first, like you said, the first meeting, I think we'll be able to, if they do that, we'll see more of it, and then Saw the whole 9 yards. I think we'll get, but I think we might end up spending maybe part 1 on the building of the Alliance.
Yeah.
Like the formal building of the Alliance.
Sure. Absolutely.
And then all the nonsense in between.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
There's plenty of nonsense that can happen.
I kind of really want to watch it again because there's so much there, and it's funny. That's what I said to you. I was like, you're like, you okay watching it? I was like, yeah. I'm now without having because I all the notes that we just asked that helped me kind of do these recaps. I didn't have to do that the second time around, so I was able to really dig deep and watch everything, and really kind of we're sitting in the bed and I'm like, look, oh my gosh, this is happening, and it's just it was really good. I enjoyed it. So
I did too. I'm sad it's over though.
No, for sure, but again, we'll see it next season. But yeah, all right. Anything else I'm forgetting?
I think we're good.
Hey, go ahead and sign us out.
All of it?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all.
Bye, guys. We'll talk to you soon.